You're listening to the Level Flight Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. And welcome back, everyone, to the Level Flight Podcast. This is episode 26. I've been activated off of IR. I am no longer coughing every 3 seconds. I'm alive. Elliot's joining me right now. Connor is currently, the big media member he is. He is currently at Canada Life Center for Manitoba Moose practice. They kick things off this Friday, so they're getting things going. He's going to be joining us shortly from presumably the arena. So we'll have him join us shortly. But right now, it's just me and Elliot. Elliot, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'd probably be feeling a little bit better if the series was in a different place with the Jets, but hey, can't really complain.
Yeah, so essentially what we're going to be doing here today is just going over what happened in the Whiteout, because the Jets are heading back to Vegas with their season on the line now, when we hoped that it would either be even or just closer. So there's a lot to talk about, especially in the first game, because that was insane. And then we're going to check in with some Moose talk, in which Connor will join us to actually, give us the inside look. We've got some Danny Zhilkin talk, because he's now at practice with the team. So no, there's a lot to take in there. But no, we're going to actually start though, first of all, with the return of the Whiteout. First actual in-person Whiteout since 2019. Before the game even started, before anything happened, I gotta say, chills.
Yeah, that's for sure. It seemed like it was rocking in there. My girlfriend actually ended up going to this game. She said it was loud in there. Obviously, the beginning of the game, it was a little quiet, but she said before the game started, and we'll get into it, when the comeback started to happen, she said her ears were hurting. It was that loud in there. So
yeah, and I know that Connor ended up, he was at game 4, and speaking of,
Here
he's
I
now
am.
here
Look at that.
in the arena.
he's hanging out at CLC.
I'm just chilling at Canada Life Center. Yeah, I'm here for Moose practice, obviously, but they just finished up a scrimmage, and I could make it in time to record. So here we are.
We quite literally just got through the intro. You're perfectly timed.
Perfect.
That was
Look at
absolutely
that.
perfect.
No, I was just hyping.
It was like we planned it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was just hyping up your coverage because we were talking a little bit about the Moose and Danny Zhilkin, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna kick right into game 3 here, where not exactly what you wanted to see from the Jets coming into their environment. This was supposed to be their advantage, and game 3 was, for 2 periods, very, very lopsided in Vegas's favor. Before we get to the third period in that one, first 2 periods, ugly, very, very ugly.
Very ugly. Well, Josh Morrissey goes down in the first minute, right?
First shift.
First shift. He plays, and then he comes back. He comes back for the power play. He's clearly laboring. It just does not look good for him. And then he immediately gets ruled out for the game, immediately ruled out for the series. So that, starting from there, is a terrible way to start the game, losing your best defenseman. And then Neil Pionk ends up having to play 40 minutes in this one because it goes to double OT. We'll get into the overtimes in the third period. But once Morrissey went down, it just kind of felt like the Jets couldn't generate anything offensively. And the first 2 periods were clear cut, like just they were struggling. You could tell why Vegas was the top seed. Their forecheck was all over the Jets defense. And I don't know how you saw it, Elliot, but it just looked like they couldn't get clean exits without Morrissey.
That their ability to break forechecks right now and get in the transition game without Josh Morrissey, who they have a prospect actually on the team that Connor is covering that's really good at breaking forechecks, but they don't want to play him. But we won't get into that discussion. Morrissey is one of their better guys at breaking forechecks, and as soon as he goes down, it's kind of I thought it was kind of game over at that point.
Keep going. I'll mute myself. I don't know what's
Is it
going
the
on
fire
here.
alarm?
I don't know. It's not the fire alarm. It's just some horn going off. Keep going, Elliot. You're good.
Anyway, so yeah, it all over the place today in this episode. But as soon as he goes down, that first period, I didn't think was great. I don't think it was the worst either. But I tweeted about it. I think after Game 4, their second periods this year, man, other than like one or two this year that I've actually liked, every other one has either been mediocre or bad. And that was another bad second period from the Jets. And it was 4-1 going into the third. I kind of want, I didn't, obviously it's playoff hockey, I don't turn the TV off, but I really genuinely debated about just deciding to go watch NBA playoffs or finding another game to watch, because I didn't really have the motivation to watch after they played like that in the second period.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I had to write a post-game piece about it, and after the second, I had started jotting some stuff down, and the piece was very like, this is why they lost. This is why like it was just listing off things as like negatives. I get there, then Nino scores. So you got a Niederreiter goal to make it a 4-2 game. First of all, I saw it on Twitter. His shot is so harmless until it leaves the stick. Like, it is scary how it looks just like an easy little drag, and then suddenly it's in the back of the net. Like, that was
That
absolutely
release was unbelievable. Yeah, that was
gorgeous.
awesome. Yeah.
So you get that, and you're like, oh, maybe there's some life here, because it was fairly early in the period. Then it was as if they had regained their form that you had seen from game 1, first period of game 2, where they were just constantly in the Vegas end, doing everything they possibly can to score. You get a goal from Scheifele, another beautiful shot, crossbody, opposite corner of the net. Great shot there. And then Lowry ties it with 22 seconds left in the third. So
Storybook, absolutely storybook.
Yeah, that goal was one of the craziest, and like in Jets 2.0, since the team came back, I wrote in my piece that was arguably one of the biggest goals that they've scored to date.
Their comeback goal against Edmonton, if it had a crowd, I probably would have rivaled that.
Yeah.
That would have been absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, my girlfriend said as soon as when Lowry scored, like she was in the suites, so she's obviously not. She's technically still sitting in the arena, but
it's still nuts.
Yeah, it's still loud. Like she said, it was. She's not technically a part of the arena, but she said it was ear-piercingly loud when that puck went in. Which I don't even know how he even got his stick on that puck in the crease. I don't know how nobody lifted his stick. He got just 2 chances.
That puck was a grenade, and he just whacked at it. And
yeah, he had it on his stick, hit it off of Brossois' pad, and I thought that was it. And nobody stick lifted him. He just got another chance at it, and it went in. So, yeah, I don't even know how we even got to that overtime, let alone 2 of them. But
I think the biggest thing that was noticeable in the third was the philosophy to just shoot the puck.
Yeah.
Like we talk about how Laurent Brossois is not really like a game breaker. He had a good game 4, but you just throw the puck at the net like the Lowry goal. Pionk picks the puck up off the wall and just fires it to the net. And
that
Lowry
was weak, by the way.
It was just a weak rebound. Yeah, weak shot, weak rebound. It's just laying there, and he just bats it in. And it's like, well, if you just throw more pucks to the net, maybe Brossois spits out a terrible rebound, and goals happen because of it. But going into the third, they only had like 12 shots or something.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna win. And when you can let Vegas get away with playing Laurent Brossois and having a goalie that looks shaky, they're gonna roll you, which is what they did in the first 2 periods. But that clearly changed.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, because such a great game ended on a terrible, terrible bounce. And it is a play that honestly it happens probably 3-4 times a game, and it just the players just aren't in the right positions and can't get capitalized on. A pass off the inside of a Vegas player's foot perfectly ricocheted to Michael Amadio in front of the net. And then the game's over, just like that. And I feel terrible for Dylan Sandberg, because he had played like the most minutes he had played all season. He was, mid-20s. he was playing great. The rest of the defensive group was playing great, but then that reflects on him, and he was just beside himself. And that makes sense, but it's just you feel terrible for the guy after he was playing so well, and he was trying to put it up to Connor on the boards there. So I guess you just put it right to the boards, but even then, like, it was just a weird bounce off the inside of a skate. Like, it's not something you can be like, oh, fundamentally he's doing something wrong here.
I was saying to people,
Yeah.
like, you just knew the game was going to end on something just dumb. Whether it was Vegas that turned it over to the Jets and the Jets won it, or Sandberg that did that, you just knew the game was going to end on like a bad bounce or like a scrum in front of the net, something gross, just because it was double OT and it was these two teams are battling it out, right? But yeah, I agree. Sandberg played great, and it sucks. It sucks that he turned the puck over because it kind of diminished how good of a game he ended up having.
Yeah, like it was a dogfight all up until that point, and it just kind of suddenly abruptly ended. Like even a scrum, like you can at least anticipate it. Like that puck scored out in the front of the net, and bunch of times in that game alone that happened. I felt pretty good about that puck getting out of there, and the game just kind of ended. And so, I mean, look, will I say that Sandberg maybe should have, the safer play was to play along the boards to Kyle Connor? Absolutely. He made a little bit of a gamble, and it's not like his gamble was a complete failure, because the puck probably gets there if Barbashev doesn't just accidentally, non-intentionally have his skate. Like he's striding opposite Sandberg.
He's at the end of a shift and he's just like standing there. He's not even like, he's not making a play on the puck. He's just standing there.
He kind of curls and skates in the opposite direction of Sandberg. Like it was like they were pushing, and it just hits his skate. And normally you see a puck like that either go back into the corners, Sandberg would circle back to go get it, or whatever other outcome you want to come out of that situation with. But it's unfortunate, and yeah, it just sucks because he was having a good game, and now the narrative around him is, oh, he made a big mistake and I don't think he deserves to play. And like, that's the narrative I see on social media and people I've talked to. And it's kind of like, you have to look at the situation and go, okay, he was playing really well up until that point. He was probably having one of his better games of the year. You could chalk that up, but unlucky bounce leads to a goal against. I get it's in the playoffs and all it takes is one mistake. But because of that one mistake does not mean you just completely throw out the rest of his performance. And
exactly,
that's that.
Also, you can avoid that entirely by, just scoring in general.
Or having a better first period.
Just having just a better game in general. Like, this entire series, we've seen two different Jets teams. One that looks like, the last, 7 games of the season. And then one that looks like the 2-month span there where the Jets were just awful from February, March. And once again, we got that sort of, two sides of the coin thing with them in game 4. Like,
yeah, that game 4 was, funny enough, I will tell you right now, I was looking on Money Puck before we started this episode, and I looked at the deserve to win meter. They actually have the Jets in favor of winning game 4. And it's not like it's 51-49%. Like it's like closer to 60%, like 60-40
didn't
split.
Feel like it.
And I will say that. That's why I want to bring that up. It did not feel 60-40. Absolutely.
The reason it doesn't feel like it is because I'm pretty sure both teams generated like 2 expected goals in this game. So it wasn't like it was 4-4 or like 4.5 to 4. So it was like high flying action. This was a game that did not have a lot of chances. It was a lot of point shots from the Jets, which can you really blame them after Mark Scheifele goes down on the weirdest injury I think I've seen in a long time. He just
second game in a row, someone gets hurt on their first shift, and comes out for a power play, takes one shot, and then that's it.
Exactly. No, it was becoming a theme. When a player gets hurt, don't send them out for the ensuing power play. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But no. Can you really blame the Jets for taking 1 million point shots? No. That probably inflated their XG numbers a little bit, but that's the reason it's kind of swayed. The Jets played a really good defensive game, and their offensive game basically relied solely on the Barron, Lowry, Appleton line, getting pucks to the point, tipping shots, looking for rebounds. And and without a second line, like without Ehlers and Scheifele, the second line was Wheeler, who played great. Well, we'll
I was
probably
gonna
get to that.
say,
Yeah, he tried his heart out.
um,
He played great.
someone brought this up, and I still don't know how realistic it is. There is a chance, just given his age, given his injury history, there might be one of those like LTIR things with Wheeler in the last year of his contract, because he's not going to retire, and with 1 year left, over 8 million on that deal.
Right.
But also, I think you can tell that he's sort of slowed down. I think he can probably identify that. That being said, that was the best effort I've seen out of Blake Wheeler all season. The best game I think he's played all year. And I don't know if it was the last home game we might see him if things don't go well in Vegas on, I guess when this comes out today, and the season ends. Is that the last home game? We don't know. Like, it could. That's the thing too. It could be the last, given the uncertainty in the offseason, the last one for Dubois, the last one for Scheifele, and it's a major downer to think about that. But it's true. Like, is that one of the last moments that we see some of these guys in the core? And I think that was quite interesting for seeing such an incredible game from Blake Wheeler. Is it looked like a Wheeler from 2-3 years ago, where he was actually like just totally dominant when he had it, and then he was the one not getting the support.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, yeah, the whole year it's kind of been like his line mates have been carrying him, or he's the one that's turning puck overs at bad times. But he played his heart out. You could tell he left it all out on the ice, and that's all you can ask for. I tweeted out when Scheifele went down, I was like, all you can ask for at this point is a good effort, because this team is down so many key players
Yeah.
that I don't even know, like, even if they give their best effort, if they'll win. So that's all you can really ask for, is when you're the 8 seed and you lose your best defenseman, your number one center, your number one winger, like, this is just ridiculous. And they, in game 4, they cared. Like, you can slight certain players for what happened or on the ice, whatever. But it looked like a team that cared and was desperate and just came out on the wrong side of some bounces.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah. I don't really know if there's much anything else other to say than that. Like, I mean, Blake Wheeler potentially playing his last game is, you know what? And I'll say this. I know he's not the captain anymore, and I know we don't have a captain, but that was a captain's performance to me. And I know he has been, and so obviously he has that in him, but we haven't, like, that was by far, and that's not even close, his best game of the year. Like, and I'll put that out there right now. And that's when you want guys to have their best games. Unfortunately, it ended in a loss, but yeah, he played like a captain. He was out there to try to lead the rest of his team to try to win, to get a victory, and he fell short because, you're without, like you said, Connor, you're without so many key guys that at that point, that roster that the Jets have that they throw out there is not even close to a playoff team without who they should have in the lineup. Like, let alone this team barely got in with who they had.
Yeah.
That team without those guys that make that difference. The Vegas is playing a team that should be vying for a top 10 lottery spot.
Yeah.
So
like, you're 100% right there. Like, imagine if Josh Morrissey was out or not on this team, right? Like, the Jets would not make the playoffs this year. So
Yeah.
you get into a playoff series against the best team in the West, and then you lose them. It's no surprise that the Jets are losing 2 home games in a row and can't generate offense and can't exit the zone. Like, all this stuff, just, I know, like, the injuries, you can't predict injuries, but
absolutely,
when the injuries happened, none of what's happened after that has been surprising to me.
Yeah.
Except for, I guess, the comeback.
Yeah, the comeback surprised everybody, I think.
Except for the comeback.
Surprised Sportsnet enough for them to tweet about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. But the 5 periods, except for that one, like the first 2 periods of game 3 and then the next 3 of game 4, I'm just not shocked at what I'm seeing. I'm just like, yeah, this is a team that looks like they care, and they just don't have the finishing talent, their best
the
players.
overall
Like,
talent
it looks
and
like a
depth.
team missing their best players. Yeah, I know it's lazy analysis, but they look like they care. It's just they can't get over the hump without these players.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
just to obviously we're being complimentary of the guys who really they stood out. I got a bone to pick with a certain winger for the Jets.
Is he a
Who
point per game scorer?
uh I'm fed up with the effort. I'm fed up with the shot selection. Kyle Connor needs to figure something out because he's pissing me off.
Can he actually win a battle on the boards? That's my question.
He's never won a
No,
board
he's never
battle.
done that his whole career.
I know.
Um,
I want to see if he that's my challenge for him for game 5. Win one battle along the boards and I will shut my mouth. But
yeah. But the thing is with that, like, it's not even like I'm not expecting him to go in there and muscle guys around like Lowry. It's the simple ones where it's like he avoids contact on the boards. And then the puck just slides past him. Like, no, quite literally, if he puts himself up against the boards, it's not going to be a big hit or anything. A bunch of 50-50 pucks are suddenly in the Jets, like in the Jets' hands. Like it's that.
Yeah.
And then the thing that really gets me though is what happened to the cold-blooded shooter that Kyle Connor was last season. Like he's double clutching, he's toe dragging. The Jets needed a goal with a minute left in the game, and his go-to shot selection was, I'm going to shoot this puck from below the goal line. It's the only shot that he took that actually hit the net. My thing is, his whole thing is that he is a scorer. He's supposed to score. And we talked about it earlier this year where he was doing the right things and just wasn't getting the bounces. Now he's doing the wrong things and still not getting the bounces. Like, he's got a couple goals in the series. And it's for like the first goal that he scored in game 1 was just because quick release, just get it off. I find that when the power play runs through him, things die out because he waits too long, or he takes a bad shot, or he tries to pass it off. Like it feels as if he doesn't want to take the shot right away anymore. And I honestly think that if he does it, there's probably a few more goals for him in the series. Like, he's letting Brissois get over, and then he hits him in the chest. Like it's something that you're not going to score on. But if you get Brissois having to slide over and you just put it somewhere near him, not even like if it's just a little bit of a quicker shot, suddenly you got rebound. Suddenly it's going through. It's little things like that. And then combine that with his, I mean, it's not a new thing, his, off the puck efforts. Like at this point, like I truly don't know if there's a more frustrating player on the team, because you know what he's capable of. He was a point per game player this season. And he's doing this when it matters most, and it really is so frustrating because you know that he has more in the tank, that he's changed his approach, and I just don't think it's right, and I don't know what needs to change in order for him to become himself again.
Yeah, and you guys talk about the board battles, like again, the reason he's with Dubois and Niederreiter is so that he doesn't have to get in any board battles, because those guys are arguably two of the best on the team, right? So it's a clear move by the Jets coaching staff to minimize the amount of board battles that Kyle Connor's in, because he's put in with the two skilled big players on the team. Adam Lowry has 4 goals, so I probably shouldn't leave his name out. But
he is the elite finishing talent.
He is the missing piece.
The Conn Smythe
with Scheifele out. I mean, hey, he's the next guy up, next man up. No, but I agree. I don't know where we go from here, because all the things you said were right, and it's frustrating to watch. And the Jets need goals more than ever. They need goals, and especially when all these injuries are happening, the top line needs to be flying. The top line needs to be producing a ton. In game 4, I haven't rewatched it, or I haven't checked any of the analytics really, but when I was in the building, it felt to me like the first line was not doing enough. It felt like the Barron, Lowry, Appleton line was getting a lot of zone time, a lot of point shots, like I said, a lot of rebounds, but the top line of Connor, Dubois, and Niederreiter had shifts, they had moments, but it just wasn't consistent enough, and when you have this many injuries, you're doomed.
I don't know. I don't know what else you can say about Kyle Connor. Does he have 1 or 2 in the series? I believe it's 2. Or is it just the 1 in game 1?
You got the 1 in game 1 from Dubois.
Oh,
I don't
wait,
think he got another one.
he initially get credited with 1 and then it changed? Wasn't it like a deflection?
Or was that before the playoffs? Either way, doesn't matter. He has let's say he has 1 goal in 4 games. Now, for a guy who's in the bottom 6, you go, that's not terrible, but it's not great.
2 goals. He's got 2.
Does
2
he have
goals,
2?
1
Okay.
assist, 3 points.
That's a frustrating 3 points. Because
He had the first
because-
goal in game 3.
Oh, right.
yes, that is correct.
Yeah,
That is correct.
There we
Either
go.
way, he scored in game 1 and 3. So what you're saying is the pattern means that in game 5,
Game 5.
It doesn't matter at this point. I don't care. It just feels like, yes, he has 2 goals in 4 games. It feels like he should have 5 in 4. He should be quote unquote goal per game. But
when's the
he's
multi-goal
not.
game coming, Elliot?
I don't think it is coming. I don't think
You're
it
going
is.
back on that now?
I don't.
You're going back?
But he's not playing how he should be.
I respect it.
And I'm pretty
I
sure
know,
I
yeah.
clarified that. I said if he plays the way he normally does, expect a multi-goal game.
Yeah.
And I will clarify that and say, if he plays like he does, we will get a multi-goal game from Kyle Connor. But if he keeps continuing to play like how he is, I don't think we see him on the score sheet again unless it's an assist. And
Well,
it's probably
we
going to be
might
a
only see him one
secondary
more
assist.
time. Yeah,
And
we might
that's-
only see him one more time, right? The Jets play Thursday, 9 p.m. Vegas. It's do or die.
That's the thing. We
Scheifele-
hope that we're not recording again on Friday.
Right. Yeah.
I would
because
at least like them to come back one more time.
give him a game 6.
If they lose in game 6 at home, then maybe we get a standing crowd ovation clap for the rest of them.
Then there'll be more fireworks after the game. That was ridiculous, by the way. I
fireworks after
should
a
keep my
loss.
voice down. I'm in the building, but game 4 they lose. You walk out and they're shooting off fireworks. Whose idea
They
was
were
that?
expecting
They
a win.
lost.
That's why.
Well, you know what? You know what it was? They bought fireworks, and they didn't win either of the games at home. So they were just like game 4. They're like, okay, screw it. We got to use these somehow. They just shut them off. But they would have done it for game 3 if they won. They would have done it for game 4.
Which I think we had to start asking how much of an advantage the whiteout really is. Granted, the actual whiteout.
I think it is an advantage, but only if the Jets have a good core around them.
But like,
if the team's actually good,
I'm not going to count. I mean, you technically can count the COVID years.
No, you can't because there's no crowd.
But
Like,
they
the
had
seats
they
are
pumped
white.
the noise in, and then it was a sea of white.
Yeah, it was just white seats. It wasn't.
But
You need
even
like
if
the
you
crowd.
don't, they have not won a game at home in the playoffs since game 1 of the Western Conference Final in 2018.
That's nuts. That's 5 years ago.
Yeah,
like that's a
So,
long time. And the
speaking
Jets have been in
of-
the playoffs a few times.
speaking of going back to old playoff series, I don't know if you guys get this vibe. I know they've won a game and they didn't win a game in this series. This feels like their first playoff series back when they played the Ducks. They just feel completely outmatched, and it doesn't feel close.
Well,
That's how it feels
I would
like to
argue
me.
though, the Jets honestly played well enough to beat the Ducks in 2015, but they just did not get any saves.
That is fair.
They led
you
for
could-
like
you could-
80% of that series.
You could say like the Jets are like showing the effort. They're playing the right way in this series. They just don't have the finishing talent because it's all hurt.
It's now the inverse. Now they
It's-
have
yeah.
the goaltending, and now they can't finish.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're going to game 5. They got to win in Vegas. That's a tough thing to do, but they've done it in this series. Scheifele and Ehlers are hopeful to play. I don't know what that means at this point because the Jets have been very vague.
Yeah.
We're kind of facing a similar situation here. We just talked to Declan Chisholm, and he said he's feeling good to go. But then two minutes earlier, Mark Morrison said they're awaiting the medical report. So it's the exact same thing, right? But yeah, back to the Jets. Do or die. Definitely no Morrissey. Maybe no Scheifele. Maybe no Ehlers. What are you guys like hoping to see? Like obviously, all I'm asking for is a good effort. I think we're all just asking for a solid effort from the team. But what are some things you think they need to do? Start with Brian. Some things you need to do to actually beat Vegas on the road to keep your season alive.
We need to see Connor Hellebuck. Not the Connor Hellebuck we've seen where he's been fine in the first, 4 games of the series. Like he hasn't been his shut everyone down quality, but neither is Brossoit. Both goalies have been, slightly below average. But it's a sample size, right? Like it's 4-game set where I saw this too on Money Puck. The worst goalie right now in the playoffs statistically is Andrei Vasilevsky. Andrei Vasilevsky is not the worst goalie in the league, and especially not the 16th best goalie in the league. It's a point where in a 4-game set, stuff can go wrong, but eventually they're going to look like themselves. And the Jets, effort aside, they need Hellebuck to be Hellebuck because they can put out the best effort they possibly can, and I'm not convinced that they win unless Hellebuck is almost perfect.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had a game like that, right? We talked about it on the last pod where we're waiting for a game for Connor Hellebuck to steal, and he hasn't done it yet. He played good in game 4. It's a bad bounce off of Ivan Barbashev's stick that goes
Ivan
past him.
Barbashev apparently is just all over this series, I guess.
And he's not even trying to be. The Sandberg goal, he's just standing there. And then his goal that Shea Theodore shoots, his stick is just there, and it goes off and top corner. He's not trying to have an impact on this series, but he is.
Anyways, thanks, St. Louis. St. Louis is always biting us. I don't get this.
No, but I agree. Connor Hellebuck has to have a signature game. Game 5, no better time, season on the line. I don't know about you, Elliot, but that's what I want to see.
I'm going to stick in the goaltending department here, but I think this we talked about with shot selection. Not Connor Hellebuck, geez. Laurent Brossoit has no high glove. That every goal the Jets have scored that's been a quote unquote snipe has been high glove. If I'm somebody on the Jets and I'm going out there and I'm Kyle Connor and I have a good shot, I am aiming, unless you see an opening anywhere else, I am aiming high glove almost every single time. Because it looks like Brossoit has no idea on how to make a glove save if it's above his waist. He has had trouble with that this entire series. And I was kind of hoping the Jets would catch on to that and just keep shooting high glove. Because if he can't catch one high glove, then it's probably hitting that bottom padding part, and it's probably falling into the crease, and you're getting at least a rebound opportunity. But I think the Jets, not even just shot selection, shot location, I think also now has to be in their mind. Like, you either need to start shooting for rebounds and forcing Brossoit to try to corral some of those, or just keep shooting high glove because it doesn't seem like he knows how to make a save high glove. And that's no knock on Brossoit. He's played great this series. It's just been, again, another trend that we've noticed that he has no idea. It's like he's new to goaltending and he has no idea how to raise his glove higher up than his shoulder. But
I even in the game 4 where there wasn't a lot of chances, anything that hit him, he just seemed uncertain about, especially after the goal went in. They don't seem to be opportunistic and actually identifying the fact that if you just put a bunch of shots at Brossoit, chances are he's going to bobble one.
That's what they found. I thought they would have figured that out in game 3.
Yeah.
In the third period, because that's what it was. They just threw the puck at the net, and sometimes it beat them clean. Like the Nino goal was high glove, and it just beat them clean. And the Scheifele goal was high glove. It just beat them clean. Like, you just throw pucks at the net, high glove. That's a great point, Elliot, because I hadn't thought about that, but now that you bring it up, a lot of the goals I'm thinking back on were high glove.
Yeah. And it's a trend to the point that they need to, you'd think that the coaching staff would be noticing that and going, hey, let's keep shooting high glove because we're probably going to score 5 if we do so. Because I don't think he seems to know how to keep track of those and get his glove in those positions. But yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else to add here, Connor, about sort of like the keys to victory.
I do have one thing.
Big.
The Jets are stepping onto the ice for practice right now. Not here,
I was just gonna say
in Vegas. Nikolai Ehlers is on in a regular jersey. Ken Weebs was saying, let's see which unit he skates with. If we waited another 2-3 minutes, I think Cole Perfetti is on in a non-contact jersey. Ehlers is there. Scheifele's not yet, but then again, practice hasn't officially started yet. My key to a Game 5 victory is get healthy.
Yeah.
That comes with time.
Exactly, which they don't have any. If Mark Scheifele and Nikolai Ehlers can be in the lineup and play to 80% of the players that they are, I'm not saying put them in the lineup if they are 80%. I'm saying they're going to have to knock some rust off. Scheifele, not so much. We don't know how healthy his left side is. I don't know what it is, but if Ehlers and Shefley can play and just fill holes in the top 6, I think they have a good chance. And if we need to see Connor Hellebuyck, right? But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because the Jets are stepping on for practice right now in Vegas. So
Yeah.
that's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Well, we're gonna depart the NHL chat now and go into some AHL talk because the Moose kick off their playoff journey on Friday. But before we do that, firstly, we're gonna take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, DraftKings. But before we do that, Elliot's got to leave us today. So hopefully we're back later than Friday with the three of us talking about the series, and because that'll mean that they've won Game 5 in Vegas and they're coming home. But Elliot, thanks for your insight and sharing in my frustrations.
Yep. Yep,
And
always.
if you have any closing remarks, feel free. But if not, we'll be back in a very short time here with some Moose talk here after our ad.
Other than go Jets, and
There you go.
hopefully go Moose on Friday. Might be at the game. So if you're a fan of LFP, check. See,
I'll be
come
there.
and find me. Yeah, come and find. We'd say Connor too, but he's too cool for
I
us.
can come
He'll be
down
in the
for
press box.
warm-ups. I
Yeah,
can come down.
he'll be in the press
We'll
box.
do a little
so.
LFP
live hit.
Live hit
Yeah.
from the concourse. Let's do it.
But yeah, keep a lookout for Moose stuff, and go Jets.
All right. Well, see you later, Elliot, and we'll be right back after this message. Light the lamp during the hockey playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can make a $5 bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. Right now from DraftKings Sportsbook, the Winnipeg Jets are currently a plus 155 underdog on the money line against the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 5. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can make a $5 hockey playoff bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Do you have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for other details. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again to DraftKings for sponsoring us this week. So Elliot's gone, but Connor's still here with me, and we're going to talk Moose. As you can see, he if you're watching on YouTube here, he's got the seats in behind him. He's at the arena. He just watched them practice. Before we get into anything else, what stood out to you from practice today?
First of all, the Moose are blasting music under me. Can you hear that or no?
No, I can't.
Okay, perfect. Because I can hear it. Anyways, in practice today, Danny Jokin's here. Dmitry Kuzmin is here. The rookies. They looked great. They looked in place. Declan Chisholm, he shed his non-contact jersey. He's finally in the lineup, right? And yeah, they scrimmaged for 20 minutes. Jokin was the only one to score. Alex Limoges put it in the empty net, but I don't count that. But I don't think Jokin or Kuzmin are going to play in the playoffs here, just because they're skating with the extras at this point. So it would be a bit of a stretch to see them in the lineup. Arvid Holm and Oskari Salminen are up with the Jets right now.
I was going to ask about that.
So the only goalie, they have one on a PTO. I'm not sure his name, but their goalie right now is Evan Cormier. And Mark Morrison was very hesitant to say, but it looks like he's going to be the starter for Friday. And Cormier played decent last year. He came in and was arguably the best goalie. He was better than Burden, and he's going to have to step up here because the Jets need the goalies up there with Riddick hurt and Hellebuyck needing some practice days off. Cormier is the only goalie left. Mark Morrison joked, he was like, well, I don't know who my goalie is going to be because I have none here. But yeah, if Declan Chisholm is in the lineup, if Evan Cormier is there, this is about as full strength as they've been in a while, because Chisholm has obviously been out with a high ankle sprain. But it was nice to be here at practice and see Jokin and Kuzmin I know we're big fans of Danny Shilkin, and he looked great today. He's flying out there. So,
That's what I love to hear.
yeah, it was good to see.
Um, Obviously, this changes things. If the Jets end up, falling short, well, when this comes out today, the goalie thing won't be an issue for
Right.
because both guys will be returned. Could you see one of them getting returned back down to the Moose
Yeah.
because like that's the thing. Like if Holmes there, like he'll be like the backup anyways. If Riddick's hurt, or he'll be
Mhm.
the extra goalie body, or Salmonen, or vice versa, whatever. If Riddick is good to back up, even if he isn't, I wouldn't be shocked if maybe Arvid Holm goes back down because it's kind of empty the tanks. That's all you got for
Yeah.
for game 5, because if you fall short, that's it. You're done.
Right.
Um,
I still think there's a nuance to it because the Jets might lose Thursday and Holm might still be up, and then they lose. So obviously they send him back down. But you're not going to play a guy who's traveling the day of, misses morning skate. Like they're still going to start Cormier, I think, game 1. But if Riddick is practicing today, maybe they send Holm back down today, and then he makes the morning skate tomorrow, and he's been practicing with the Jets, so he's good to go, right? It's a lot to be desired right now. My best bet would be Cormier for game 1, but again,
well, I can answer your question.
oh,
No Riddick today in practice.
so then yeah, the chances of seeing Evan Cormier in the net in game 1 just went up a significant amount. And that goes Friday 7, Milwaukee Admirals again.
Tickets still available.
Tickets still available. LFB Live. No, but that'll be really fun. I'm excited to watch these players in the playoffs. And yeah, Milwaukee. I mean, half their team. Dave Manuka of Legal Curve and I were looking at Milwaukee's roster, and there's like 8 players that were playing up with Nashville for the last month of the season, and now they're back down. So that team went up and got a lot of valuable experience, and it's gonna be a really good series because again, the Moose, when healthy, are one of the best teams in the AHL, and they're getting healthy. So
Well, I mean, on that thread, with them being seasoned vets now, apparently, what's the key for the Moose to come out on top in the series against Milwaukee?
well, Milwaukee has the best power play in the league and the best penalty kill in the division. So I'd say stay out of the box is like the number one. Like be disciplined, stay out of the box. Because if you put Milwaukee and all those NHL players that played for the last month in Nashville on the power play, they will make you pay. I asked Mark Morrison today what he's seen from his film study with the power play, and he was basically saying they get a lot of guys to the front of the net. They are a threat from all 3 like outside areas, and they just capitalize on rebounds. The Moose have a good penalty kill as well to counter that, but they just need to stay disciplined and keep
You
this
don't want
team
to
at even
trifle with that,
strength.
though.
No, you don't at all, because Milwaukee's power play is dynamite, and it can change the series. Right, the Moose need to take the first 2 games at home because the AHL playoff format, it's a best of 5. The first 2 games, Friday and Sunday, are going to be here at Canada Life Center, and then they're going to go to Milwaukee for game 3, 4, and 5. If you let Milwaukee split in the first 2 games, it's basically over, because if you have to go to Milwaukee and win 2 games, that is a tall ask, no matter how healthy your team is, no matter how good your goaltending
I
is,
was gonna say, no
whoever
matter
that
who
may
your
be,
goalies are, because we
no matter
don't
who your
know.
goalies are. Yeah, but no, they've got to split, they've got to sweep the home games on Friday and Sunday and stay out of the box. Those are the things I'm watching for.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tough because
Yeah.
there's really no way to understand who's gonna be, because also you're possibly looking at, once again, this really all hinges on what happens with the Jets,
Yeah.
because probably not for game 1, as you said, because then you're asking a lot of travel, but guys like Stenland, uh,
Axel Janssen Fjallby
Janssen
is
Fjallby, they're
eligible to go down.
they're eligible to
Yep.
get sent down.
Yep.
So they could be reinforcements.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to predict. The best we can ask though is just to get a great effort from them in game 1, and then hope that you can keep things lighter on Evan Cormier, because
Yep.
you don't want things to, like, no offense to Cormier, but he's spent most of his year in the ECHL this year, right?
Yes, and he just now got called up. His stats weren't great either, so I'm not sure if the team in front of him was really bad or what, but he's a good goalie. He'll be able to fill in and play well in game one. I'm pretty confident in saying that. We'll see what actually ends up being the case, but I don't think that the Moose are at a well. Obviously, for Milwaukee, Yaroslav Askarov, former first round pick, is going to be their goalie.
He's
So
also
I
kind
think
of
they're
like
at
a
a
wild card. I feel like
he is, yeah.
he's always one of those guys that he has these moments of being like, okay, maybe he might be NHL ready,
And
because
then he has games where he just blows up.
yeah,
So
so
we'll see.
he's no consistency. So if you can catch him a little bit off, then suddenly
Oof,
the
yeah,
series becomes way more interesting. But
yeah,
yeah, it'll be a fun series.
it
Hoping
will.
for a different outcome than last year. Just before we go here, I just want to say, so Ehlers is in the regular jersey, as we said, and he's
Yeah.
skating on a line with Nemesnikov and Niederreiter.
Okay, that's much better than skating with extras. So there
And
you go.
then there's no Stenlin, no Scheifele, no Dubois in practice today.
No Dubois.
I'm assuming Dubois
Why?
mainly just kind of banged up, but not like he played the whole
Not
games.
banged up enough to
But that means
miss
there's
the
also they're
game.
missing 3 centers in practice.
Yeah.
So
Who's taking
currently
these
the placeholders, Gustafson's playing between Connor and Wheeler, which
Nice.
scares me.
Shifley?
Yeah,
Connor
I'm
Shifley Wheeler?
scared, terrified,
Yeah, we'll
because
see.
we know that doesn't work in extended periods, but who knows? And then currently the fourth line center is Saku Manalainen.
Love it.
Um,
Love it.
so we'll see where that goes. But no, I think we'll wrap it here.
Yeah.
Just
good.
because I mean they'll probably kick you out at some point.
I'm parked in downtown Winnipeg. My parking's gonna expire soon. I gotta run. I gotta go.
Yeah, so bit of a disjointed one today, a little bit. We've
Glad I could make it work from
I'm the
Canada Life.
I'm the
Though.
only
Love
constant in
it.
today's episode.
There you go. Yeah.
But no, we hope you all enjoyed. Hoping that we won't be recording on Friday.
Right.
We have another game to talk about, and in which case is a projected game 6 on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we would probably have an episode out Monday morning, if that is in fact the case, before a game 7. Because game 7 would be Monday, right?
Yes, Monday at like 9 p.m. because it's Vegas. Yeah.
So that's where we'd be looking. But until then, thanks again for listening, everyone. So I'm nervous.
Yep.
Not really excited because I
lot.
don't know if my heart can take it. But until the next time, I'm Brian. This is Connor. Go Jets.
Go Jets.
You've been listening to the Level Flight Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network.